go home. We're actually testing cameras so everyone can hear you right now. So don't say slanderous things.
Oh. we get started, I've got a few things to tell everyone. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather tonight is the traditional unceded territory of the Woodstigway people. That is the New Brunswick Company. Participants in our festival are also drawn from the lands of Mi'kmaq and Passamaquoddy. This territory is covered by treaties of peace and friendship signed with the British Crown in 1725, which did not deal with the surrender of lands and resources, but in fact recognized the Woodstigway, Mi'kmaq, and Passamaquoddy title and established the rules for what was to be an ongoing relationship between nations. I'd like to next acknowledge a number of people we'd like to thank for making our festival possible this year, starting with our funders and sponsors. They are the Province of New Brunswick through the Department of Tourism, Heritage and Culture, the Government of Canada through the Department of Canadian Heritage's Building Communities through Arts and Heritage Program, the City of Fredericton, Arts NB, University of New Brunswick, and Downtown Fredericton Incorporated. Special thanks to our host and venue partner for this year's festival, Theatre New Brunswick, where we're staging and live streaming many of our performances in this festival. We're extremely grateful to TNB for stepping in to give us a hand when it looked like we might have been homeless this year, so we're very happy to be here tonight. Our festival is obviously very different this year, but we're thrilled that we're here tonight, performing both for a small live audience in the theater and also for those of you watching at home. Thanks so much to all of you for participating, for taking us in, and continuing to support the performing arts, which is really very important to all of us in this industry in what is a very challenging time for all of us. We're presenting all of our shows this year free of charge. However, if you'd like to make a donation, help support the work of our company, we'd be more than happy to take that off your hands. If you're here tonight, we have a donation box in the lobby, or if you're watching online, you can go to our website at nbarts.com to make a donation. We've been presenting 14 new plays at this year's edition of Notable Acts. There's still a chance to see many others. We'll be back here at the Open Space Theatre on Saturday afternoon for more Play Out Loud readings of runners-up from our 2020 one-act playwriting competition. We have one more performance of Taking It to the Streets, the 4 winners of our 10-minute playwriting competition, tomorrow night at 7:30 in Barrack Square. And we have one more performance of our digital main stage production, Space Girl, streaming online to close the festival Saturday night at 7:30. So, tonight we're excited to present readings of 2 new plays. Play development is a process that has many stages to it, and what you're going to see is sort of a partway step in the development of a play. So it's not the finished product. What we do at Notable Acts is exclusively new plays by New Brunswick playwrights. And for a playwright, seeing a cast performing a semi-staged reading of a work is a really invaluable step in taking that script from what was its early stages to what will eventually be sort of a final finished product. So tonight we're starting with Out of Water, the winner of our high school playwriting competition for this year. That's going to run about 20 minutes, and that's going to be followed by a talk back between the playwright and our festival dramaturg, Vern Thiessen. Vern has mentored all of our playwrights in our festival this year from Alberta as a result of the pandemic, through the wonders of technology and many hours on Zoom. He's going to be beaming in for the talk backs tonight. After that, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll come back for our final play of the evening, The Kelpie by Alex Ryu, which was one of the 2 winners of our one-act playwriting competition for this year, which will also be followed by a talk back. A few simple health and safety notes for tonight. We're going to ask you in the theatre remain in seats that you're in to ensure physical distancing for the duration of the night. If you need to use the washroom at the break and then you leave at the end of the evening, we'll ask you to put on your face mask once again. And when we leave at the end of the night, we'll do so in a controlled and organized manner. If you're watching at home tonight, should there be any sort of technical problem, our internet here is not, and we do have a severe thunderstorm warning, and we have power outage earlier in the day. If your stream should go out for 30 seconds or more, go back to YouTube, search Notable Acts, and you'll find a new stream for a resumption if our internet drops out. Finally, We ask you in the theater to please turn off or silence your devices. So, it's time for our first show of the evening, Out of Water by Madeline Sally.
Out of Water by Madeline Sally. A fishing boat, big enough for 2 people to sit in as comfortably as one can in a fishing boat, floats idly on the bay to Shada, the shore still within view. It's a calm August day, one of those lazy end-of-the-summer afternoons where the sunlight feels a bit stale. Bill, 46, hands his daughter Ada a fishing line.
Should be a good day for mackerel. Right time of year.
Uh-huh.
Did you go out fishing here last summer?
No, not last year.
Yeah, it was a good one. Must have caught at least 60.
I know. Saw pictures.
Well, let's hope we get lucky again this year. Remember how to do this?
Yep.
You just drop the line in.
I know. I remember.
Careful with the hooks.
I got it.
Okay.
Ada, 15 years old, drops the weighted line and watches it sink, stopping after a few seconds. There's an awkward silence. She shifts on the uncomfortable boat seat, looking for something to say. Her eyes fall onto the audience for the first time. It is unclear whether Bill is also awkwardly searching for a topic of conversation, or absorbed in his untangling of his line, or if time has stopped altogether. In any case, the following is heard only by Ada and her audience.
Well, clearly this is going to be awkward. I should have planned something in advance. Some topic of conversation. I've known we were going fishing for weeks. It's weird. I've actually been looking forward to it. The change of scenery, the peace and quiet. I guess that's the whole point. It was Mom's idea, you know, wanted me to get out of the house. Because as we all know, there's nothing a little fresh air can't solve. Dad's been excited about it, wanted to reconnect, I guess, joking around in that dad way. You've been spending so much time in your room lately. It's like you're hiding from us. Go figure, huh? You all know, right? We can talk about it. I mean, it's not like you're gonna tell anyone, right? No, of course not. I don't know. It's just also hyped up. It's supposed to be this big, dramatic, important step in the journey. All the questions and feelings and worries all leading up to one moment. But it's like you get there, and there's still questions. How do you go about telling them? And who is them? Who do you tell? How does one go about deciding that? It's just been going on for so long, I don't know what to do with it.
Time unfreezes. Either that, or Bill has finally found a way to start a long, amicable father-daughter conversation.
So, grade 10, huh?
What?
Looking forward to it?
To grade 10?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Surely you must have some opinion.
Not really. I mean, it can't be that much different from grade 9. English, French, math, it's all the same.
Sure.
Might be a bit harder, you know, more advanced.
Now don't worry, you'll be fine.
I'm not worried.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Don't worry about it.
You know what I've never seen? A book written for fathers about how to talk to their daughters. You go to bookstores, you see shelf after shelf of books about fathers and sons or mothers and daughters, but the fathers with daughters are just supposed to figure it out. Guess at the right things to say. Guess whether she wants you to ask if everything's okay or to just let her deal with it on her own. Soccer tryouts must be pretty soon.
Yeah, I got an email about that. First week back. Wednesday afternoon, I think.
You nervous at all?
Not really. I think they'll let me back on. Didn't do too bad last year.
I mean, make goals in one season. It's not terrible.
Hey, most of those only happened because I received a pass in the right place at the right time. Nothing brilliant about it.
Remember the day you came home from your first soccer tryouts? You were so happy, so full of energy. It just clicked immediately for you.
Yeah, I remember.
That was what, 3 years ago?
2.
Wow.
After a moment of dad pride, Bill refocuses his attention on untangling his line. Ada looks out to the audience once more.
Fall of grade 8. I would have been 13 years old. It's like that day is burned into my memory. Could be because of the heat. It was ridiculously hot for September. Like 32 degrees. Didn't really matter though. Everything was so clear, smell of the turf, the sound of the whistle, the sky all blue and bright and cloudless. I remember dribbling the ball right and left around the cones, you know, the usual stuff. Just feeling so focused. And with the sun focused on us like one of those keychain laser beams they use for cats or something. It was also, I don't know, logical. And then right before practice ended, I remember the team captain from the year before jogging towards us, sweat shining on her forehead, her ponytail bouncing right and left, almost hypnotizing. And it was like time stopped. And I froze. And I felt like a flutter in my stomach, because all of a sudden I wasn't focused on tryouts or soccer or whether or not I'd make the team. I was just focused on, wow, she is really pretty. And that was new. It barely lasted a second, but it stood out for some reason. Afterwards, when we were all packing up and getting ready to go home, I remember making the conscious decision not to dwell on it. It wasn't a big deal after all. So I went home, and everything was fine. Right, of course, about 3 days later, I woke up suddenly, like an hour before my alarm, because I had been dreaming about her. I don't remember what it was specifically, but I remember her ponytail bouncing right and left, hypnotizing. And more than anything, I remember sitting up in bed and thinking, maybe this is a big deal.
A brief return to reality after having successfully untangled his fishing line.
Ha!
Jeez!
Sorry, didn't mean to make the jump.
It's fine. I didn't know what to do. It wasn't like we had discussed this sort of thing at home, so I had no way to define whatever was going on. Like, I'd heard some terms before, but they always seemed kind of far away and adult, so I didn't pay too much attention to them as a kid. Too bad for me, I guess.
Nothing on your line yet?
Nope.
Nice day though.
Relaxing.
Not too hot.
Yeah,
Should
be getting some fish before long.
sure.
Trying to decide whether or not to abandon his attempts to initiate a conversation with his daughter, Bill looks out at the ocean. We're back to Ada and her audience.
Around the same time this all happened, started grade 8, some of my friends came back from summer break constantly talking about boys. And I mean constantly. They'd meet them everywhere, at camps, on vacations, at parties, and almost every time some strange male teenager was brought up in conversation, the first encounter was described in almost the exact same way. Time stopping, feeling frozen to the spot, focused on that one person, a flutter in the stomach. And I thought, hey, I know how that feels. And then I thought, uh-oh. I don't know if I assumed I was normal up until that point, or if I just didn't really care. But it suddenly occurred to me how entirely not normal I was. And right away, I felt a separation between all the normal people and myself. And then came the fear, and the loneliness, and it didn't get better.
A chime sounds. It's Bill's phone. He checks the screen.
It's your mother.
Oh. She probably wants to know how much longer we're going to be out here.
She wants to know how much longer we're going to be out here.
Right. Nothing wrong with that. She cares, I know. She always needs an answer.
Ada?
Doesn't matter what it is. It's just how she functions. But it kind of sucks sometimes.
What do you think?
I think sometimes I don't have an answer. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why I'm stressed out. But don't worry, I kept saying. I swear it's not a big deal. But it wasn't going away. That whole time it wasn't going away. Maybe I'd never done the math, but girls are like half of all people. Have you ever noticed how many girls there are? Seriously, there's so many of them. And that year, everywhere I looked, there they were all of a sudden. Like birds, flying right, left, beautiful, smart, busy, everywhere at once. And the whole time, I was stuck inside myself, somewhere between awe and shame. Surrounded and unable to move, and just incessantly reminded of it. It was constant. And for a little while, the logical part of my brain at the time was like, so what? So what you feel like this? It's not a big deal. Well, it didn't take a whole lot of research to figure out that yes, in fact, it is a very big deal. At least, a lot of people seem to think it is. I don't know who decided that. God, maybe? Or someone decided that God decided it? I don't know. I couldn't risk being noticed. So I took the thing that started all of this, and I wrapped it up and shoved it in the back of my brain like the bottom of a backpack. Out of sight, out of mind, right? I guess you can try to put something out of your sight all you want, but if you're carrying it, it doesn't matter. The weight is still there.
Want to try a few more squats and head back?
What? Oh, sure, whatever.
Ada, is everything okay?
Yes,
Are you sure? Because you seem...
I'm fine.
Okay. She's fine. That's that. She just seemed, I don't know, not quite like herself over the past few months. More distracted, more reserved than usual. Yes, of course, I know she's getting older and becoming a teenager and all that. That's life. Kids grow up and there's nothing to be done about it. I just miss her. I miss my daughter. Does that make any sense? I guess I miss seeing her light up about things. I miss when she'd come home all excited to tell us all about her day in bright-eyed detail. The simple stuff, the important stuff, school, friends, life, instead of just good or fine, because I can tell that it isn't always fine. Maybe this is just one of those parenting things you're supposed to let go of. Maybe I'm just meant to mind my own business. But honestly, what are parents for if not to care about these things? These unknown sort of problems. Just don't feel like you can't talk to me, okay? I'm here if you need me.
I know. I know you're here. I know you. You listen, you try, and yeah, you're awkward about it, but you're here. Not trying to fix anything, not getting too worked up, just here. I know. It's not, you can't possibly live with someone for 15 years and not know them. You can't. Someone who was there when you took your first step, scored your first goal, someone who's been here this entire time. There has to be some trust, some faith, that whatever happens, you're still good. You're safe from any kind of judgment. You're still his little girl. But you don't know. You don't know until you tell him. And then it's out of your hands, for better or for worse. I've been carrying this weight around. I don't want to, but it's demanding my attention. And every day it gets heavier and heavier and heavier. And deep, deep down, I know it's not a bad thing. It's not an evil thing. It's just a thing, you know? Maybe even a beautiful thing. But I've spent so much time trying to keep it tucked away in that backpack pocket, trying to ignore it even though it's constantly resurfacing over and over, and I'm stuck there, heavy and frozen and afraid, just so terrified all the time. Of society, of the universe, of myself, of whatever it is, this claustrophobic, suffocating state I've been in for 2 years. And it's too much. I'm done with it. With the fear, with the isolation. I want out. I've been waiting for it out. And it's right here. And yeah, it's scary and irreversible. But it'll be okay. It has to be. It is a big deal, it really is. It's the rest of my life. But just to be out there, to breathe freely again, there's gotta be so many things out there in this big, crazy world that feel better than staying closed off and bottled up. So many things to do, places to see. Maybe someday I'll have a reason to go. Maybe even someone to go with. Okay. Dad?
Yeah?
I'm gay.
No? Are you sure?
Yes.
Have you told your mother?
No.
Any of your friends?
Just you.
Okay. How long have you known?
2 years.
2 years.
Yep.
I don't know what to say.
Well, me neither. Are we good?
Good.
Are you okay with it?
Of course. I had no idea.
Okay.
I knew it was a possibility. possibility, I suppose, but
You didn't know.
exactly. This is what's been going on with me.
Pretty much.
Wow. I feel like we should have talked about it at some point.
What do you mean?
I don't know. This whole time I could have been there. I could have said something.
Well, you didn't know.
Yes, but I could have.
You didn't know, Dad. You couldn't have known. I was scared. You hear all these stories about other people, you start to think, I don't know, that you're better off just keeping it to yourself. Does that make sense?
Probably. I wouldn't know, I suppose.
Guess.
I just want to do the right thing for you.
You did. You are. You're here.
I love you, just so you know.
Love you too.
And I'm proud of
Yeah?
you. Absolutely. I'm saying all this, it takes some courage, doesn't it?
You could say that.
Are you going to tell your mother?
Maybe. Yes. I'm not sure. Not right now.
Okay. Okay.
I just need to tell someone. Get it out.
Makes sense.
Having no idea how to move on from this conversation, Ada awkwardly jerks her fishing line.
Still no fish, I guess.
Weird, huh? It's right in the middle of the season. You'd think they'd be all over the place.
Should we try somewhere else?
Sure.
They begin winding their fishing lines. Something occurs to Bill.
So, is there anybody?
What?
Any girls that you know?
Oh, no! Not really. Not yet.
Okay. That's fine.
If at some point there is one, I'll be sure to let you know before anyone else.
All right. Whenever you're ready.
Having finished winding the lines, they deposit them in the bottom of the boat.
Okay. Which way did Mac go?
I don't know. You decide.
That way. I've got a good feeling.
All righty then.
I missed this.
The motor sputters to light. Lights down.
Alan, why don't you come on down?
Can we put this chair center for her, please? Center. Stick that one there. We'll get it for you.
Yeah, neat.
Oh. Okay, I'll sit in this chair.
And just give me 1 second to get burning here. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Excellent. Let me get you turned around so that Madeline can see you. Maybe. There we go.
Good, how are you?
So that-
Try to let me know when we're about to begin.
I believe you're good, Vern. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Well, thanks everybody, and what a beautiful reading of a wonderful play. And again, it's so lovely to hear your live applause. It just sends shivers up my spine. So it's great. So Madeline, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions first, and then I'm going to ask the audience a couple of questions, and then we'll open it up. So, how did it feel to hear your play read out loud?
I feel like I've just run like a 10K. I don't know. It's very.
And I'm assuming that means you're exhausted. Is that what you mean?
But in a good way. It's very strange and surreal because like you have the months on end where you're just hearing it in your own head. You have the short period of time where you're hearing it in an isolated environment with just the actors and the director. And then you have the moment where it opens up to an audience and you get to hear like not just it being spoken but it being reacted to, and it's new and it's weird, but it's a good new and weird.
It's okay. Weird is good and okay, and if it makes you feel good, then that's good too. I would love for you to talk a little bit about the setting of this play in terms of the fishing and why you decided to choose that as a very unique setting for a coming out story. So, can you talk a little bit about that with us?
Sure.
Madeline, if you wouldn't mind speaking up just a bit, we're having a hard time hearing you over the rain.
Okay. It was when I first came up with this idea, the setting was one of the first things that just kind of fell into my head. Neat. There's something about being in a fishing boat. Like, I've gone mackerel fishing almost every year of my life up in the Biedersheim, and it's a very peaceful place, but it's also like you're very isolated, and you are left with your own thoughts if you're not talking. And so, for a play that really it's a lot of like churning of thoughts and what's happening in your own head. It felt like a good place to put it, very quiet, just floating in your own universe, really. And that also makes it an interesting place for connection, I think, because there's no one else around you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a private and very intimate thing to do, isn't it? To go fishing with somebody else in a way. That's great. I have a couple of questions for the audience, and I'm sure they have some questions for you or even the cast. Audience members, I'm wondering what moment in this play really stood out for you or touched you. For example, for me, it's that section where the dad has to confront this near the end, and perhaps it's because I've been the father of a teenager, and so that's the thing. I'm just praying that he's going to say the right things. That's what I'm feeling while I'm watching it. I'm wondering what moment in the play really kind of snagged you, like with the hook up with snag a fish. That's what I'm interested in. Can somebody moderate that for me up there?
Yeah, Len's here for it.
If you could speak loudly so everyone can hear you. Sophie?
One part that I think really hooked me was the analogy between like hiding it, wrapping it up and putting it in your backpack, out of sight, out of mind, but you still felt the weight of it. Like that part just made me go like, oof, like that was beautiful and I loved it.
One thing that captured me about it was the way that the anxiety of the little girl sort of gets integrated into it, because that really hooked me. It really spoke to me, because when you feel anxious about something that feels like the center of your world right then, how everything, all your anxiety and everything going wrong just seems to like pop on. So somehow everything is about this right now. How, I really thought it really captured the way that anxiety was.
I like the part where, yeah, I like the part where, the dad is talking about how there's no books to understand this, and then you have the writer here basically writing a book for dad. That was pretty dad. That was a good one.
I really liked the moment when she discovers that her friends were having these moments with like boys, and that mixture of excitement and shame that's like so integral to like I think the young queer experience. So like you hit that like the nail on the head with that one, 10 out of 10.
Is that it, Len?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions that you have of Ellen or the actors, audience?
I have two questions. My first question is, so Alex Dawson was cast in Madeline's piece, and Madeline was in Alex Dawson's piece, and they were both right to class together. That's right, everyone. They cheated. This whole thing is about me. I guess I just wanted to know how did it feel influencing each other's plays and then ending up doing that in a very full sense. Now we're full circle where every reading you both influence each other's plays. How does that feel? How does that impact?
Well, I don't know who was responsible for passing, but it felt like a brilliant stroke of luck. I don't know, we started writing the plays around the same time, and we both saw like very, very early drafts of each other's plays, and so we got to be like intimately familiar with like, oh, this is the base level of what this is about, and we're gonna pile on all the things that make it pretty and better later. And then being able to, I don't know about you, but for me being able to step into that as an actor on Tuesday was a really special experience. And it's this very fun, like full circle duality thing that's going on. Thank you, Alex.
You want to talk about that?
I mean, it's been crazy. We started this months and months ago, and to be here before we get to this play is just so special. And getting to be in your play was so special. I don't think I could have visualized my play without you in it, and I think it's just perfect. I'm so happy we got to do it together.
One, two.
Yeah, my next question. So you submitted a play and you all submitted plays and everybody submitted plays. Good job everybody. You have a play and it was great, it read great. So what's next, especially, and what have you been thinking about, especially in the landscape of what theater might be looking like in the near future?
The question was next for you, Madeline? Is that the question?
Yeah,
I believe so. There's a lot of words around it.
So that, I can barely hear what's happening in the house, but if that's the question, that was also my question, is what you were working on next.
I'd like to keep working with this play. I'll probably throw it in a few other directions and see where it sticks. I may end up putting it in a drawer and revisiting it in a few months, maybe. I've got some new ideas for some new pieces of writing, but I've got like 5 or 6 ideas, so if I'm lucky, one of them will stick. But going into senior year of high school next year, I would like to explore some of those emotions. And the idea of being in that in-between, like you're not a child, you're not an adult, you're existing in this limbo. And I want to explore what that's kind of like, and I don't know how that's going to manifest itself specifically. But I have some ideas.
Well, a fantastic play, Madeline, and well done. And you know what? We talked about that ending a lot, about what the ending of that play was going to be, and I thought you really nailed it. So congratulations on that, and I'm looking forward to. I think the Kelpie is up next, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep.
So thank you very much, Madeline, and I'll turn it over to people in the house. Another round of applause. Yay!
So we're going to take a 5-minute or so break. We'll set up for the next show, and we'll be back.
The Kelpie by Alex Ryu. Characters: Andy Sterling, a young man. He is in love. Elsie, a new girl in town. Jackson, Andy's friend. Manuel Sterling, Andy's father. And Susie, a horse, who will be played by Jackson and Manuel. Scene 1. Remember. Lights up Hannigan's cow field. Early morning. A soft breeze is blowing as Andy stands centered, taking in his surroundings. Andy kneels and begins pushing his right hand into the ground, digging gently through the dirt. He examines his hands. Elsie enters, a figment of Andy's imagination.
It's dry.
You came back.
Bone dry.
Are you looking for something?
This is the spot.
You want to go back?
The latches have been worn down. They've been sliding all summer.
Manuel enters.
Knew we should have replaced those.
Jackson enters. The chorus is complete.
Jackson and
I found one!
we were looking for
And latches kept sliding.
And then
We got it! Help me get up, we can get it back!
her hooves.
Andy, come on!
Her hooves, babe.
back,
My hand.
Andy, you awake?
It itches like
back.
Andy!
Andy, get your ass out of bed and not calling again.
Andy,
like a bug bite?
Andy!
Or a stinger?
Andy!
Andy!
go back. Andy, go back.
Scene 2. Morning. The chorus begin to undress Andy until he is just in his boxers. Manuel grabs a couple of blankets and throws them onto the ground. As Andy speaks, he gets under the covers as if he is sitting up in bed.
Susie is a good horse. She's big, dark gray coat she's got brown speckled in her nose and a white line like a stripe that starts at her forehead and goes right down to her muzzle. She can be hard to clean sometimes, hard to tell where the dirt is. Dad says he thinks she has too much personality. She's free-spirited. When she's in her stall, sometimes she'll bob her head all around. She gets bitey too. When I feed her, she gets anxious for food. That morning I had to get up early, but I...
Jackson appears from under the covers. He is also in his boxers. The two begin to kiss gently. For a moment, everything on stage is peaceful.
Andy!
Sure.
The two begin to rush to get their clothes back on, which are strewn about the stage.
Andy, you up?
Shirt?
So tonight, you're sure about this, about everything?
Sure. I mean, not really, but
But we're doing this.
we're doing this. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Last call!
She's gonna be pissed. Super fucking pissed.
Well, if she's pissed, she can find someone else to drag around.
I'm liking this Andy.
I'm still getting used to him.
Andy, get your ass out of bed. I'm not calling again.
Oh, and one last thing.
The boys kiss. Jackson grabs a silver chain necklace that hangs off of Andy's neck.
We're getting rid of this.
Deal. I go downstairs.
Andy!
The dining room of Andy's house. His father, Manuel, stands with a cup of coffee looking down at a newspaper.
Sorry, slept in.
Greg Kempson over in Glendale has some latches for us. You're picking them up. I got business in town today, so you'll take the old truck. Oh, that's the end.
Fine.
You're coming home, we're replacing the latches, and I want to finish our talk.
Understood.
Good. Okay, I'm heading out. You're cleaning the stalls this morning.
I know, Dad.
Good. Okay.
Manuel goes to exit, takes a moment as if he has one last thing to say to Andy. He leaves it and exits. As Manuel exits, the ensemble creates Susie. Scene 3, Susie 1.
We had been trying to train Susie for a couple of years. She wouldn't take to anyone, always bucking him off. Around this time last year, we were doing okay, but she started towards the corral and she tried to scrape me off. Felt like my leg was getting torn apart. I didn't try and ride her again after that. Why don't you just sit still?
It's too cramped in there.
Well, you can stretch your legs in the corral.
You don't understand. This is torture.
You get fed, get cleaned, get your shit shoveled.
You can go wherever you want, whenever you want.
No, I can't.
You don't have reins like me. You aren't tied to walls.
People have reins too, but you can't see them, but they still feel real.
You get to live and breathe outside.
But I have to take care of you. Not only you, too. There's Rebel and Toby.
If you just let me go, you wouldn't have to worry about taking care of me.
I can't do that.
No one has to know. Just forget to close the stall door. You'll never have to worry about me ever again.
You can't just run away, Susie. People would be worried. I would be worried.
Do you want to run away?
Sometimes.
Why?
Susie.
Suddenly we're flung into Andy's dining room with his father. They're at the table to eat.
You made sure the stables are closed.
I did.
The latch on Susie's stall is getting rusted.
The corral latch has been sliding a bit too.
Damn
You
expense.
done with your plate?
Yeah.
Manuel picks up his plate. He drops it, smashing it on the floor.
Jesus.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a plate.
Latches are pricey. Maybe we should
Hold
just...
your wrists.
We can always move Susie to another stall.
She won't like it.
Why put up with her? She's too much effort. Maybe we just let her off. Let her go if she wants. She'll be dead by daylight.
You wanted a project. Are your wrists bothering you again?
You know, Hannigan's farm, one of their cows managed to wander off. Don't ask me how.
Dad.
Jumped off a bridge. Just took a dive. Can't imagine. You know, there's those types that are always spouting free the animals. Give those things a choice, and that's what they go and do. Can't trust them. They only know what we fence off for them. Can't trust them in the outside world.
I'll call and get you in and get your wrists looked at.
There's nothing wrong with my wrists.
Dad, we're just...
Go check and make sure the latch is on right.
It's...
Just check.
Right. I'll check.
On Andy's line, the ensemble forms Susie.
Why do you want to run away?
The chorus comes apart and Susie is gone.
You don't want to run away.
You could have, you know. You could have gotten away if you hadn't.
I shouldn't have come back here.
The chorus comes together, taking on a collective voice, except Elsie.
I think it'd be best if you went
it would
back.
be best if you went back.
If you say what happened, if that's
If what
really
you say
what
happened,
happened,
if that's
it could bring back something.
really what
some
happened,
feelings
bring
from
back
that night.
something.
You're not letting
Feelings
yourself
from that night.
remember.
You're not letting
You're
yourself
holding yourself
remember.
back.
Andy. You're holding yourself back.
You always go back.
Elsie.
Go back.
Scene 4, Elsie. Andy is breaking up hay for the horses to eat. Outside, you can hear the light trickling of rain.
Puppy!
Elsie, you scared me.
Didn't stop your heart, did I?
No, nearly though, but...
Where's my necklace?
Huh?
The necklace, our necklace. Did you lose it?
Lose it? No, I just didn't want it to get dirty. I just finished feeding the horses. It would get all... Look, what are you doing here?
Well, I wanted to apologize for before the night of... I got a little carried away.
Elsie suddenly kisses him.
Whoa, Elsie.
Are you mad at me? I know you're mad at me, but...
No, Elsie, no.
We haven't hung out, you don't have the necklace. I told you I'm sorry.
I've just been busy, that's all. Trying to spend more time at home.
Are you scared all of a sudden? When the summer's up, I'm out of here, and you promised.
No, it's just the old man.
Then suck it. He doesn't own you.
Yeah?
Just tell me that we're good. Soon it's gonna be you, me, and a whole lot of sun.
We're good, Elsie.
You wanted this. You still want this, don't you?
Yes.
Then don't be... The closer you hold on to all of this, the harder it's going to be to let go.
I'm letting go, Elsie.
The two are silent for a moment.
We're going out tonight.
You wanna...
You, me, and Jackson. I've decided.
Jackson?
Why not?
You sure you really want to see Jackson after...
You forgive me, right? If you do, he does too.
What would we even do?
I don't know. Swimming? Oh, skinny dipping. At the lake. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Where we first met.
Scene 5, the lake.
It was late May. School wasn't out yet, but seniors always ditch and go somewhere to fuck around.
I thought you might want one of these. Get you loose. Loosen up. I mean, have you talked to Jen? Jen loves horses. Like, loves.
I know. We take care of Rebel. That's her horse.
Right? I mean, there's your in. Talk about Rebel. It's something.
These just aren't my people.
You don't have people, Andy. You sure?
Just...
It would loosen you up. I wouldn't invite you if...
I don't need that to...
Oh, don't give me that. It's a beer. Grow up. I want you to have a good time.
I tried to talk to you and your friends, but this isn't my thing. You have fun.
What do you want me to do? I'm not going to be your babysitter, Andy.
I don't need you.
Don't get pouty.
I'm not pouty.
You are.
You invited me. You wanted me here, and it's like I'm not even...
You want me on your hip? Like we're boyfriends now? It's not like it wasn't awkward enough when I told everyone I invited Horseboy.
Jackson takes a big chunk of his beer.
Yeah, you know what? This wasn't... Maybe you should just...
No, I'm gonna stay.
So you want a drink?
No, I'm just kind of, sort of gonna hang out.
Andy,
I'll just be here. You go have fun with your friends.
come on.
Andy ignores Jackson.
Fine. You just want to be horse boy your whole life. You're doing a great job.
We hear a loud bang as if on a wooden door. The lights flicker. Andy notices Jackson exits. Elsie appears. She wears denim shorts and a white tank top with a bathing suit top underneath.
Oh my god, the water is freezing!
You haven't gone in the water yet.
I know. I'm just preparing for the inevitable.
You've got a little something in your...
What? Is it a bug?
No, it's...
Andy reaches out and then points to her hair. Elsie pulls out a small piece of seaweed.
Oh. Are they not letting you in on their reindeer games?
What?
I've been through enough towns to recognize the lone wolfy guy. You're more of a puppy, I think. Lone puppy guy.
She hands him a bottle of sunscreen.
Put this on my back, would ya? Don't sweat it.
I don't even know you.
Elsie,
Andy.
come on, puppy. Let's get their tongues wagging.
Scene 6, Susie 2. As Andy speaks, the chorus assembles Susie.
You had long blonde hair, almost white blonde. You were tall, taller than most girls I know. Not crazy tall, but yeah, tall. Your collarbones were sharp, long fingers and long legs. Your eyes were like an amber. When the sun hit them right, though, they looked like gold. A wheat field in summer kind of gold. You once said...
The body is just a shell. There's always more to someone beneath the surface.
You were loud, too. That's the first thing that caught my attention. You were excited to see me. You loved attention, good or bad. You didn't like to blend in.
Andy begins to groom and clean Susie.
I don't like her.
Too bad.
Is she going to be hanging around here?
We're friends now, so...
She's loud.
You're just cranky because you haven't been fed yet.
She stinks.
She doesn't stink. She smells like flowers.
She stinks like blood. She's covering it, but she's doing a bad job.
That's messed up, Suze.
I don't want her coming here anymore.
You just want me all to yourself.
If she takes you away, then I'm going too.
Nobody's going anywhere.
What about Jackson? I like Jackson. Jackson doesn't stink like that. He has a good stink.
And that makes Jackson better than Elsie?
He makes you happier. I've seen you. You make him happy too.
That's different, Suze.
You like his stink.
Besides, we can't do that here. This town isn't a place to be happy, not that kind of happy.
That's why you want to leave. Leave me behind in here. You know it's awful and...
Hey, I told you, no one's going anywhere.
The chorus breaks away, revealing Jackson.
You talking to someone?
No?
You got a minute?
Scene 7, Just Friends. The woods behind the stable. Andy and Jackson stand apart.
I want to apologize.
For what?
For the beach.
It was almost a month ago, man.
I know, I still feel bad.
You're just horny.
Honestly, a little.
Jeez.
But for real, I feel bad. I was dumb. I don't know what I thought I was doing, but I thought maybe if you guys got along, I don't know, this could be a little different.
When all this started, you said we were just having fun.
Yeah, I did.
Did you change your mind?
It can still be fun. It's been working like this for...
Andy nudges his head as if calling Jackson closer. The two start to kiss.
Is that a knife, or are you just...
No, yeah, it's my knife.
Oh,
The crack of a tree branch.
what? Is someone coming?
Shh. Quiet, then another crack.
Hey! Who's there?
Jackson, shut up!
Puppy!
Shit.
What are you doing out here? And with... Who are you?
This is Jackson.
Jackson.
Why are you two out here?
We're here.
Because Andy...
Jackson.
Wait. Oh my god. You two are totally dipping your pickles, aren't you?
Fine. Yeah.
Jackson!
It's cool. You guys are fine. Didn't know you had it in ya.
So...
Oh my god.
What?
I just realized something. I don't think I've ever seen two guys kiss before.
Oh, well,
Would you guys kiss for me?
Well,
that's kind of,
I've never seen it before.
Jeez, girl.
like,
Hmm?
I mean, I'll do it.
This is fucking weird.
Just having fun, bro. It's just me watching my friend kissing a really hot guy. No homo or whatever. Not that there's...
You got issues, girl.
Elsie goes over to Jackson.
You two are too used to hiding in dark places.
I get it. You're not wrong, either. Being close to someone can feel a whole lot better when you don't have eyes on you, but
Elsie is now right up against Jackson.
wouldn't it be better to crawl out from under that rock?
Elsie kisses Jackson.
Just a kiss, Jackson. Now we're all having fun.
Scene 8, Susie's escape. We hear a loud thud and Manuel yelling in pain in the distance. Manuel enters, and Andy guiding him into a chair. Elsie lingers behind.
Here, just sit down.
I'm fine, just get off me.
Dad, you got bucked off her.
She slammed you right into the barn.
Is she back in her stall?
We can look for Suze later, Dad. We need to get you. Thank you for walking with us, Elsie. You don't have to stick around.
What about Susie?
I'll call Jackson. He's got his truck.
Where were you? Why'd you just take off?
I closed the stall, the latches. You know, the
I
latches.
can't believe this is what it takes to find and bring a girl.
We should take you to the doctor.
It's fine. I've gotten knocked up and down and side to side. It's gonna take more than that. I don't knock down that easy.
It's not a bad idea.
Thanks, Elsie.
You remind me of my wife.
She was smart too, eh?
Yeah, smart enough to hightail it out of here.
You should drink some water.
Andy hands him a bottle of water.
Here, come to me. Walk in a straight line.
Easy.
Manuel gets up and walks towards her, and off the first step, he loses his balance and falters.
Dad!
Manuel sits back down.
It's fine. I'm fine.
Manuel looks at Elsie's feet, befuddled.
Your feet are on backwards.
You're going to the hospital. I'll drive. Elsie, seriously, you don't have to stick around.
The stall.
Little late for that.
I'm gonna help Jackson look.
You don't have to.
Just being a good friend.
Oh, you'll owe me though. Elsie exits. The chorus begins to assemble Susie and move around Andy. Scene 10, Susie 3.
I drove Dad to the hospital and turned the radio up loud so he couldn't doze off. Hospital's a ways away after all. I told them what happened and they decided it was okay to take him home and let him sleep, so long as I checked up on him every hour or so just to make sure he'd wake up. I called Jackson to see if he had any news about Susie. He and you went looking. He was ready to turn in. You said you were still gonna look. Says he tried to stop you, but you weren't changing your mind. You told him to let you out, that you'd walk home, check in the woods. He grabbed you to get you to stop. Said you bit him and jumped out, called you crazy. I thought about you, all alone in the woods at night. It gets cold out there, especially at night. What were you thinking? I was up all night checking on Dad. 6-something in the morning, I heard you knock on the door. Quietly made my way to the door and then...
Puppy?
You were covered in blood, with a big blow to the head. You told me it was a stag. A lot of people don't think that a little deer can put up much of a fight. I helped clean you up, but you needed stitches. You wouldn't let me take you to the hospital. You've been up all night, you said. It'll go away. I wanted to walk you home, but you just kissed me and said it would be all right. I just needed to sleep and everything would be better. Then it was. I saw you the next day, not even a scar, like it never happened. I was so relieved and confused. You shouldn't be okay. Well, you can't just be okay. But you were, and that was enough for me. And for a while, everything was okay, and then...
The pieces of Susie quickly come apart as the chorus speaks in unison, as if a news reporter.
Jessica Stevenson and her friends thought they would get in an early morning swim before the beach got crowded. But her and her friends were shocked to find this family favorite beach now overrun by blood and carnage. At first, the remains were unidentifiable, but forensic investigators were able to determine that the remains were not human, but in fact, a horse. Sterling Stables' Susie escaped a week ago, and it appears that she met her untimely demise. Though it's unclear what could have torn Susie apart, experts are saying it's some kind of animal unfamiliar to the area, and are warning locals to keep out of the woods and stay alert.
I felt this gross knot in my stomach. Dad was furious. He tore the latch off of Susie's door. I threw up. I had trouble sleeping that night.
Andy.
What could do that?
Andy.
Jackson offered to come over, but
I was out.
I needed to be alone.
Listen.
I hear you.
I was out.
I know, Susie. You left and you died.
I was right, Andy.
You wanted to get out, and you got out, and look what happened.
There's something bad out there, Andy. Something really, really bad.
Just leave me alone.
Scene 11, Beautiful Stranger. The stables. Andy is cleaning out Susie's stall. Elsie is messing around with the equipment.
Why didn't you tell me about your mom?
Didn't seem important.
You really fit into her place.
What's that supposed to mean?
Don't be all big man about it. I just mean, your dad's one of these men, old men. They go from their mothers taking care of them to their wives taking care of them. It's a tale as old as time.
Huh, I guess.
And that nickname,
Oh, you mean...
Horse Boy,
We hear the banging sound again.
I've just had that since I was a kid. Dad's real broke up about Susie, you know?
you must be going through it. That was your horse, eh?
She wasn't mine. It wasn't ours. She was her own, even in the end.
You took care of her, though. It's no different than a dog or a cat dying.
Well,
Hmm?
sometimes I have dreams and stuff where she talks to me, and I mean, I talk to her in stalls and stuff, but never mind.
No, come on.
I don't.
The sound of banging again, louder.
You don't have to be scared of me, puppy.
I used to talk to her, but in my dreams, she could talk back. That's weird, isn't it? That's weird shit.
Have you ever told anyone that before?
Andy shrugs. Again, we hear the banging on the stall doors.
I used to be scared of horses, you know.
Yeah.
There was this story my grandmother told me. Oh, you probably wouldn't like it. It's some weird shit.
Hit me.
So once there was a beautiful maiden, and she met a handsome young man, and, you know, this stranger guy wanted her to be his wife. Take care of his man-child ass. But the woman was suspicious of this guy, and she noticed that he always wore this silver necklace. Well, one night while they're sleeping side by side, she slips the necklace off. Lo and behold, the guy transforms. He's what's called a Kelpie. Sort of like if a mermaid was also a horse. It lives in rivers and lakes and stuff. Oh, I almost forgot the hooves. The hooves are backwards. That's how you tell it's not a regular horse too. The hooves face the other way. So, lady takes her horseman to go to work in her father's fields. I guess as a punishment. She puts him to work for a year, and then she takes the Kelpie to this old hermit man. There, the man gives the Kelpie his necklace back, so he's all human again, and asks if he would rather stay as a man or as a monster. Then, the Kelpie asks his lover if she would marry him if he stayed a man. Well, she says absolutely she would marry him. So he stays a man forever, and the two get married, and, you know, ever happy after. There are other Kelpie stories, though, about how it'll drag you underwater and eat you and stuff. Those ones are where the nightmares are from.
Elsie takes a silver necklace off her neck.
A necklace?
Like in the story.
Why?
Do you want to be stuck here, puppy? Being guilted into sticking around until he can't function without you around? What if he broke his arm or a leg? He can be reckless, Andy, because he knows he has you.
I don't know.
You want to hide too? Slipping into the woods with Jackson, is that enough for you?
You make it sound like leaving is just this easy fix.
I've moved around so much that I don't get a chance to make a lot of friends. People are scared of me, or they make up stories. Anything to keep the weird new girl at arm's length. I saw you on the shore that day, and I knew you wouldn't do that to me.
Where would we even go?
New York? California? London? I don't know, whatever tacky big city is supposed to make dreams come true. Live above a deli and complain.
Just leave my dad. Leave Jackson.
Jackson's too acclimatized to all this. He's hurting inside, but he has a safety net. Friends. He's comfy pretending. You're no good at pretending, Andy. This place will never work for someone like you.
Maybe. You think it was a Kelpie that got Susie?
If you believe in stories.
Susie would kick a Kelpie's ass.
She'd put up a good fight.
Andy leans his head on Elsie's shoulder.
You smell like flowers.
Scene 12, the stables. Manuel and Andy are sorting grains into different buckets to feed the horses.
He's getting heavier.
You know, you really ought to take it easy.
I'm fine for now, anyway. Besides, there's something I've been meaning to talk to you about.
Yeah?
With Susie gone now, I realize now that maybe I've been biting off too much.
Uh-huh.
I should maybe start to take a step back, think about retiring.
What about the stables? You gonna sell or?
That's what I wanted to. Well, I think it's best that I want you to take over the stables. Now, I know, there's a lot of responsibility, but you're the best with the horses, and I want to keep this all in the family. I know you're someone that I trust you, Andrew. Well, I'll give you your time to think about it. In the meantime, I need to lay down. The backs, you got this from here?
Manuel goes to exit.
It's not my job to take care of you.
All right. Okay. Go on. No. Really, Andy, go on. Say what you want to say. I want to know.
Why does everything have to be? It's always been I have to look after you. I have to take care of you. I don't even know. I haven't done anything. I've never gotten a life, and you don't ever want me to have one either. You could hire someone, you could sell and have that money, or
You're responsible. I think you could go out and do whatever you want, but I don't even know who you're talking to me right now. Honestly,
because you never tried to. You never listened. You never thought about what I wanted.
You never talk, Andrew. You don't. How am I supposed to know what you want, huh? Do you know what you want? You let everyone traipse on you. Keep everything in that's not good for nothing.
Well, there's no room for me to.
Well, now there is. We'll talk things out now. We're gonna talk.
No, we won't. We never do.
Okay.
Scene 13, Brawl. The beach on the lake, Andy and Jackson are having beers.
The hell is this? This?
He reaches under Andy's collar and pulls the necklace.
Just something else he gave me.
I don't know if it's your style.
I don't mind it.
Andy takes a sip from his bottle and makes a face.
It tastes like shit.
You get used to it. Anyway, this weekend, my folks said I could have the cottage. We could...
Could Elsie come?
I mean...
What?
I get a weird vibe.
She's cool.
She did bite me.
Hey, boys! Jackson gives Andy an irritated look.
Sup, Else?
Oh, don't do that.
She hates nicknames.
Of course.
What are we saying? Jeez, dead here today.
Well,
since the Sue's incident, folks aren't that keen on Murder Beach.
It's just an animal. I mean, sorry, Andy.
it's okay.
We were thinking of peeling off soon anyhow.
Jackson's thinking of having us up to his parents' cottage this weekend.
Cute.
Yeah, you know, it's not a for sure thing, but...
Well, we can always find something to do. Puppy, you think any more about where you want to go?
Go?
We're leaving. Ditching town. As soon as the leaves fall, we are gone.
Andy?
Andy is quiet. He takes a sip of his beer.
You have a problem?
Andy's dad might, seeing as...
Jackson,
Seeing as...
Dad wants me to take over.
Shut up!
We talked about it this morning. He's getting too old and he needs me to take on more responsibility.
You talked, or he told you? Why didn't you tell me?
Andy is quiet.
It's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, what's wrong with taking
But
over
you can't
for
just
family?
expect someone's going to be
Okay, but what if Andy wants to stick
There's
around?
no life in your crummy hometown.
There's nothing wrong with making a life where you grew up.
Guys!
Oh, now it's all... We're all tense. Toss me a beer.
Jackson rolls his eyes. Andy hands Elsie his beer. She takes a large drink.
I know.
Elsie takes an elastic and ties her hair up.
We need to wrestle.
The fuck?
Like the cavemen. There's all this aggression here, Jackson, and you're working it out.
This is so stupid.
Oh, the little baby's afraid a girl's gonna beat him.
Jeez.
Come on.
Jackson looks to Andy, who shrugs. Jackson caves and takes a wrestling stance across from Elsie, and the two get into it. The fight is playful at first, maybe even a little flirty. Elsie begins to get more aggressive, to Jackson's surprise.
Oh, fuck.
He tries to rise to meet her energy, Elsie gets more intense and knocks him down, grabbing his arm and twisting.
Say uncle.
Elsie, knock it off!
Say uncle!
A pop. Jackson lets out a huge yell. His arm has been dislocated.
Jackson!
Shit!
The hell did you do that
I'm
for?
sorry.
Pop it back! Pop it back!
But I don't,
I can.
No! I'll drive you to the hospital.
Let me come.
Just go home, Alice!
Scene 14, Susie 4. Andy's dream state. The chorus begins to assemble Susie.
You tore his arm out of its socket.
I told you I was sorry.
I drove him to the hospital that night. He told me to just pop it back in, but I couldn't. The wait took forever, and I dozed off in the waiting room of the hospital.
I told you. I tried to tell you.
Get out of my head.
She's not your friend, Andy.
I just want to rest, Suze. I just want to sleep.
You need to run. You need to get away.
Now you think I should go?
Not safe.
What do you mean?
Not safe anymore.
Not safe here?
Elsie begins to emerge, breaking Susie apart.
I was looking for you everywhere.
Susie?
Get away!
Wait!
Please, puppy.
Get away from him!
Elsie and the pieces of Susie get into a brawl.
Stop it! Just stop it, Elf!
Don't call me that.
Elsie rips Susie apart in her hands.
Why did you do that? Why did you do
I
that?
had to.
No, you didn't! You didn't! You didn't have to do any of this!
You're being held back.
I can't listen to this.
Puppy.
You're a monster! Elsie, you're a monster!
You don't call me that. You don't ever call me that.
Just go!
Scene 14, a place like this. The lights remain out. We hear Jackson in the dark.
Andy? Andy?
The lights slowly come up to Andy waking up. We're in a hospital waiting room. Jackson wears a shoulder brace.
We're all good. You good to go?
Just a second.
Jackson takes a seat next to him.
You want to sleep a little longer?
No. I'm just not ready to go back.
Sure, man.
Don't...
What?
I just want...
Andy leans on Jackson's shoulder.
I'm happy you're okay.
I've had worse.
I don't know. No, I don't want to go with her. But I can't.
I think you're right.
I can't stay here, Jackson. I don't want to take care of him.
Your dad.
I can't. I can't do everything, Jackson. I can't live my life for him. I'm too tired. I'm sick of it.
Sounds like you still want to take off.
I just want things to be different here.
So you're not going to take off with Elsie?
I know you hate her, but
She acts like you're her... I mean, she calls you puppy, for Christ's sake.
you don't get to be jealous, Jackson.
I'm not jealous.
You wrestled her over me.
You were going to take off. Just ditching me.
Do you know why everyone calls me Horse Boy, Jackson? When we were little, I had a few friends. Tarek Matchett, we were neighbors, and I met Kelsey Hall and her brother Teddy through him. So one day, my dad had me helping out with this horse. His name was Runner. I was old enough to start grooming him without having to worry about me getting kicked in the face. So I was grooming him, and I was talking to myself, and talking to myself became talking to him. Well, they came around, and they were listening to me talking to the horse. They started teasing me, so I tried to run out, but they closed the stall door on me. I banged on the door for them to just let me out. I'm not scared of small spaces or anything, but it's scary to feel like you're trapped and there's someone who can let you out and they just won't. You're totally powerless. They found the bags of feed and started throwing it in and chanting, "Horse Boy!" And then Runner was getting riled up. I thought he would crush me. That's when Dad came in and told him to fuck off. Told everyone I was a weirdo, talked to horses, ate horse food, slept in the stables. Along the way, it just stuck. All because they didn't get this one little part of me. Why would I want to stay in a place like that?
You really think it's that bad?
You're fine here. You don't have any problems here.
It doesn't make me feel any less shitty. Everyone splits town. Everyone thinks this place is trash, but I don't know. I shouldn't have to feel bad for wanting to be here. It's what I know. It's my life.
People can't always get what they want here. Some things you can only get somewhere else.
What do you want?
Andy wraps his arms around Jackson and holds his hand.
And if that's too much for you, then tell me here and now.
Scene 15, go back. Andy and Jackson kiss. Manuel and Elsie appear to remove the waiting room set dressings and turn the space back into Andy's room. Andy and Jackson continue to kiss and remove each other's clothes until we return to the setup for scene 2. The scene becomes a montage of the events of scene 1 through 4.
Susie was a good horse.
Andy!
Sure.
Jackson tosses Andy a white shirt. The two begin to rush to get their clothes back on, mirroring the blocking from before.
She was free spirit.
Andy, up!
You sure about this? About everything?
She was tired of being cooped up, held back.
But we're doing this.
So am I.
Jackson tears the necklace off of Andy.
We're getting rid of this.
The two kiss, Manuel appears.
Greg Kempson over in Glendale has some latches for us. You're picking them up. I got business in town today, so you'll take the old truck. That's the end of it.
Understood?
Why do you want to run away?
I'm not running away, Susie.
Puppy, are you mad at me? Just tell me that we're good.
I'm not running away, but I'm not going back.
I don't know. Swimming? Oh, skinny dipping. At the lake, where we first met.
No!
No?
Elsie, I'm not going with you.
A moment of silence as the rain grows louder.
You're not serious, puppy.
Stop! Stop calling me that!
You can't just change your mind. We were in this together, and now you're just going to leave me out of nowhere? I'm sorry about Jackson, okay? I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. Why? You're the one person who I thought finally got me, and we just wanna...
You're just doing what you said everyone else was doing. Holding me back. You want me as your property, your sidekick, I don't know. It's over.
You think I'm a monster.
Elsie.
Soft rumble of thunder.
Don't touch me. You don't know anything about me.
She grabs him by the neck.
I trusted you.
Elsie tosses Andy into a stall, slamming the door on him and trapping him inside. Lightning crashes, the lights flicker. We can hear Andy yelling and the sound of other stalls sliding open. The sound of cantering fills the space as all the horses in the stable escape. Jackson enters.
What the fuck?
Jackson opens the stall and Andy runs out, checking the other stalls and realizing what Elsie has done.
She just... What? Why would... Fuck! What the fuck? What the fuck?
Andy!
I told her everything and she... Oh, fuck!
It's okay. We can get them back. We'll get them all back.
How?
We're getting them back. Come on.
Scene 17. The Kelpie. The rain has evolved to a full-on storm, lightning and thunder coming in frequently.
It's raining, so we take Jackson's truck. We maybe make it a quarter mile without seeing any of the horses. We were hoping we'd find them somewhere in the fields, but with the rain, then Jackson sees one.
Found one!
It was standing in the field, in this field, Hannigan's field. We parked the truck and Jackson ran down past me. I ran behind him too, but the mud made it hard. He keeps yelling.
Who is that? Runner? Rebel?
It was just standing there, and Jackson's yelling.
Whatever, we got her!
We get to the horse. No, Jackson gets to the horse first.
Help me get her up the road.
We don't have any reins. We can't get one horse back, let alone...
Help me get on top. I can ride her to the stalls.
I help Jackson up. He gives the horse a couple of taps, but it tries to just toss him off.
Stupid.
Be gentle.
It won't listen.
I try and calm the horse down, and I look at its eye. It's amber with hints of gold, like wheat in the summer, kind of, with dark gray all around, making the eyes almost look sunken. But its pupils.
Help me get down.
The pupils they're slit, square, almost like a goat's.
Andy!
I look at Jackson and where he's sitting, and it's like the horse's coat is turned to mud.
I can't get down. Andy, get me off of this thing.
I go to grab him, but my arm is yanked back, and it's not there. It's the same mud, this black mud. The horse, its eyes, they're different. The little bit of black around them, it's all black and wet, and it starts moving.
Andy!
He's crying for me.
Andy!
Jackson!
Andy!
We just yell at each other. We don't know how to get out. We can't. There's no getting out. My feet dig into the mud. We're sinking. The horse is kicking up mud and dirt. And I look down. Its hooves are backwards, like the story. And then suddenly sharp and cold water. We're going underwater. But we're in a field. Is the field flooding? It's too fast. But then with one huge lunge, the horse,
The sound of a large plunge into water, along with the sound of muffled yelling.
We're underwater, going deeper and deeper and deeper, and I'm pulling, and I'm pulling, and I'm pulling. Jackson is screaming, his mouth opens, and bubbles pour out, escaping to the surface. There's a voice in my head. Is this happening? Am I gonna die? Is this really how I'm gonna die? No, my knife. I take out my knife off my belt, and I cut into my wrist. It hurts. My wrist. God, Jesus, my wrist hurts. I sever the last of the flesh, and I release. I float to the top. I catch Jackson's eyes behind the red water. I reach out with my good hand. I catch a bit of his shirt collar. I grab on, holding it so tight, but I can't. I let go. He sinks down deeper and deeper until it's just black. He's gone. Jackson's gone, and
Andy takes a sharp inhale. He's back on land, and he is alone. Slowly, the rain subsides. After some time getting his breath back, he begins to dig at the ground. As he does, Elsie reappears, slowly and ghostly, with blood around her mouth and down her clothes.
This is how we found you. Hannigan came to let the cows out to pasture. That's when he found you, Andy.
I remember.
You wrapped your arm in the shirt to stop the bleeding. It's a miracle you didn't die from blood loss.
Is that what you wanted?
No, Andy. I just wanted something. Someone to take care of. Who might take care of me sometimes. I was alone for so long. I'm always alone. So were you. I thought we might belong together.
No. Nothing belongs to anyone.
What now?
People are waiting for me. They think I did something awful. They think I'm a monster.
It's not too late. I took away everything that was keeping you here. If you stay, they've already made their minds up about you, Andy. They'll tear you to shreds.
They may. Or I tell them the truth.
What could you say? You think the people here believe in monsters? They're the monsters. All they see is an outcast with nothing but blood on his hands.
I'm going back.
Susie appears in her reins.
Didn't you hear me? They'll tear you to shreds!
Andy takes the reins off of Susie. She moves past him and exits.
I think I could put up a good fight.
Hello, hello.
Hey Alex, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Trent, let me know when we're ready to begin.
Oop. Now I can't see what I'm doing. Go ahead, Vern.
Thank you. Congratulations, Alex.
Well, thank you.
Did you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh,
yeah.
great, excellent. So, Alex, I want to start by asking you about something that we talked about early on in this process, which was the obsession of notable act and with the monster play. And whether New Brunswick has a series of monster plays that are rolling through the New Brunswick countryside. It's so great to see a horror play really on stage. So I'm wondering if you could just talk a little bit about your fascination with mythology, with the Kelpie, and with the idea of putting this kind of sinister horror play on the stage.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's true. It seems like almost every year there's some sort of monster play that always makes its way into notable acts in one way or another. And I've always been a really big fan of like creatures and mythology ever since I was a kid. And when I was first like kind of coming up with the idea for the show, I was inspired by a webcomic, but I had also been really intrigued by shapeshifters.
and that particular kind of creature that can change its appearance and what that kind of can do in terms of storytelling. And I got really intrigued by like how you could portray a shapeshifter in theater, because it seemed to be like a really, really big challenge. And the thought kind of came, it's like, well, what if you don't know what the thing is until the very end, and you get kind of hints at it, and then it's sort of like this reveal that's not necessarily seen, but there's enough kind of implied, and to make you uneasy, so that by the time you get to the monster, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, one of I mean, there's so many great moments and lines in this play, but there's, I think, is that line that she has where she goes, "You think I'm a monster?" And we're like, "Yeah, you are." I think you are. So you went through massive changes in this play, from the first little bit that I read only a month and a half ago to this draft today. I'm wondering, what are some of the things that you discovered during the writing process, either about the play or about yourself as a writer?
Well, I know as a writer I'm super fickle, and I have trouble making like big changes, but this play was definitely one where I thought I knew exactly kind of what I wanted to do with it, and then after talking with you, kind of made a big risk. Like originally in the play there was a therapist character who was very crucial throughout, and then I just kind of was trying to keep that therapist in while working with your notes, and then I just said, screw it, we're getting rid of it, and we're just going to see what happens. And just by taking that kind of plunge and making this big possible change, kind of unlocked the form of the play that we see now. And it was just better to be able to think about the characters in a more fully rounded way, able to see Andy go through the things rather than just talk about them. I mean, he still does quite a bit of like monologuing, but there's still a lot more kind of action that you see with him now.
Yeah, I have to say that you took some huge risks and in this play, and just in terms of abandoning all kinds of stuff and letting you do stuff, and I thought that was very impressive. If you were to go back into the play, this is my last question to you, I'm wondering what kind of things you continue to work on or change?
I would say like the thing I would want to work on more the most is Elsie, because I mean even in this version I still don't really get a full sense of who Elsie is. I knew what I kind of wanted to do with her, having this kind of creature, trying to play at being a human and what that would mean, and why she, as this kind of age-old creature, would want to kind of mingle with people and would want to attach themselves like to a person. And I still haven't completely figured that out, but I think it's moving in that direction, and that would be sort of the key thing I would do, is just really get to the roots of Elsie more.
Yeah, monster logic is always a really tough thing.
Like, why does this monster want to hang out with high school kids?
But wait a second, if the Kelpie is right,
yeah.
It's like you just see them do that and dissecting it afterwards, which is kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to turn to the audience now, and as I have done throughout this process, I'm curious from the audience perspective, what was this place filled with so many of them, but what is a moment, an image, there's such great imagery in this play, a line, a scene that really stood out for you, that where it's like 3 weeks from now you're going to remember that moment. What might that be?
So for me, the one that I'm gonna remember is the image of the drowning and the struggling and that sort of swirling, broiling, massive images there, which is, it's funny because I've seen drowning images and I've seen like struggle images, but I love the way they all blended together, the muck and the cutting off the hand and things like that. It felt like they were punches that were delivered as images, that were delivered as a struggle, that really worked for me in a really compelling moment.
I want to follow up on what Devin said. I actually have a question of that whole drowning and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, like tell me I'm wrong on the live stream, it's okay. The drowning image, the horse, like this, was that like Did you get that from a Never-Ending Story? Was that linked to that at all?
From a story?
Never-Ending Story?
No, actually.
Kids are sad.
That final scene in particular was actually, again, I said I think at the beginning, like I saw like a webcomic called The Kelpie, and it was basically that last scene was the first thing that I ever wrote, was because it was just there was no text in the comic, it was just kind of two, I think they were like maybe 10 years old in the comic, and they find this horse, and they're like, cool horse, they climb on, and then it's Kelpie, and it drags them under, and really sad.
I agree with that. It was very clear, and I was like, I can see this, and I like that. I like that. I agree. You struggle with the visual is very tight. I like that.
Cool, nice.
Other people, any that stood out for you? You want to show?
There's something about the chain that I thought was really interesting. Just the fact that it gets kind of passed around like throughout the play, and I don't know. Even though, like, it seems like it has some kind of magic to it, even if we don't necessarily know more about it. It seemed like an object of power in some way.
I really liked how escaping the small town was not the way to escape compulsory heterosexuality. It was like, it was the first thing I'd really seen where staying at home meant staying with a gay lover, and the idea of running away to the city was this weird, monstrous, enforced heterosexuality, and that's going to stay with me for quite a while, because I thought that was a very clever reversal.
Great, and that's really good to know, because that was like a really important part of it for me when writing this, was that kind of idea that it's like, I know so many like gay men my age who like went out to the big city and they just kind of like to complain. They're like, New Brunswick is still awful, it's not a place to be gay and all these things, but then when they actually come around, they see the amount of growth that it's done. And not to say that New Brunswick is done growing, because I think we all know that that's far from true, but they get surprised and thrown back by how much more there is for queer folks in our province, and so I'm really happy that rang through.
Great, thank you.
Oh, yeah, there was just like one moment that kind of shocked me, and I thought it was really interesting, and it was just the image of the horse torn apart on the beach. And I liked it, but I don't know how I actually feel about it, but it was just very, very unexpected, and I thought it was super interesting.
Glad we have, natural sound effects.
There's Q&A, I'm like, I hope this really heavy rain comes back right at the end. But hopefully nowhere else.
Fred, is there any questions on the live feed?
There is. If you had an unlimited budget, how would the horse character ideally appear into the audience? Masks, costumes, projections, etc.
Every time I pictured this horse, I just imagine like each ensemble member has kind of this weird, abstract kind of piece that insinuates horse, but isn't necessarily horse. Like maybe one person has, it's maybe like a clumpy, weird shoulder piece. One person has more of a neck piece, and one person has like sort of a head piece. So that like throughout the kind of whirling of the show, that Susie could easily kind of break apart and then kind of form back together, or just like move in really interesting, weird ways. So kind of like a mix of like Susie being both a prop and a puppet, if that makes any sense at all. Designers out there, call me, please, let's chat.
Trent, anything else on the feed?
Nothing yet. Nope. Oops, sorry. There is. What are the differences in writing horror versus other genres? Will you continue to write horror?
Ooh, I would say with like horror, I'm gonna kind of steal a quote from a friend. Like, I once heard like horror is like one of the trickiest genres to tackle, because it's really reliant on like hiding the strings, so to speak. Like you can't really like see the pieces, but in theater, usually like there's more fun to be had by kind of revealing the pieces, or how does seeing the pieces kind of heighten the story rather than diminish from it. And so I do want to keep writing horror, and I do want to keep writing it in a way where it's not necessarily trying to hide anything, but using the pieces, I guess, in like just newer ways. I don't know.
Trent, anything else on the feed?
Nothing on the feed. Do we have something in the room? Yes.
Yeah, any questions in the room?
Yeah, just my last question. So like to make a Kelpie, to make it be a monster, I'm wondering what were like the big bads, what were like the monsters you looked at as a reference point, and after hearing it be read like out loud, are there any like monsters that are coming to mind that are gonna like help through the, you know,
Like further.
monster?
Sorry. Further.
Like who are your inspirations for your monster?
Oh.
And then after hearing it now, who will continue to inspire your monster?
Oh well, like luckily the Kelpie, like I didn't create the Kelpie necessarily. It is like a creature that exists, at least in like a lot of folklore. But for this monster, I just kind of always, when I pictured the Kelpie, at least in terms of the show, I'd like to imagine like a very long necked horse kind of situation. There's actually, never mind, there is something else that inspired it. There's a horror artist that I really love, whose name is Trevor Henderson, and he's got a creature called Long Horse, where it's just like this like horse skull with this impossibly long, very jointy neck. And that would be one inspiration, I guess, in terms of like thinking of like the Kelpie design wise or in my imagination. Because it's both unsettling and yet I can sort of envision this puppet thing with just like kind of like joints coming out. But yeah, I guess that would be the only real creature that wasn't like other Kelpie concept art that really made me go, oh, this could be something neat.
Lana, we have time for one more question. Hey?
Yeah, we got one more.
I obviously like monster stories. Worked on my fair share of them. So I guess my question is, a lot of monsters are either masculine or non-gendered. And I guess I'm not throwing out a suggestion, throwing out a thought of like, maybe I'm wondering if you're going to think more about the significance of the monster's gender or the way that it approaches gender, because this play doesn't have nothing to say about gender. So I'm curious if that's something that you're going to think about heading into the future, whether this is a genderless monster or whether that its pain or its suffering is somehow linked to its gender. I think it strikes me because most, especially horror stories about monsters that are stuck to an old hometown, there's usually the image, this sort of archetype of a man, a scary man or a scary beast or thing. And then there's, of course, people have written pages of critiques of making monsters women. Not to say that it can't be done, but I'm wondering if you're going to look more into that. What is the significance of gender for this monster? Because that really struck me when I was reading it and watching it now.
Yeah, I don't think I would kind of disagree with you when I say that there's not a lot of like women monsters. I think there's like quite a number that you can pull from, but in terms of like exploring gender with this creature and this monster, I mean, I guess the gender thing for me, like I would say like Elsie's issue, like Elsie's like wants aren't necessarily linked to her gender. I don't want I definitely don't want to communicate that it's like, and these are like all like the things that this woman just wants, and it's like, oh, but like just more of this like I think what I wanted mostly to communicate with like this creature was like this sympathetic angle where there is like this really vast loneliness that only like these old eternal kind of creatures can have. Like it's just this like really crippling loneliness that maybe like forces it out of the shadows to try and connect with something and go against its nature maybe a little bit as this kind of violent force. But yeah, I'll definitely be thinking more about that.
Sorry, I threw you a real curveball for the end.
Okay. Alex, thank you so much. You guys can't see this, but from my zoom lens here, the camera on the stage, in the background, the way the lighting is showing on the skirmer, the backdrop, and you probably can't see this, but from my view, it looks like the shadow of a horse.
Elsie? Oh no! I told her I'd never seen it.
So I'm going to say a round of applause for Alex. I'm going to leave you for now. Be back on Thursday, and I'm sure Len, you have some concluding remarks to make about the rest of the festival. But thank you very, very much, and give Alex another round of applause.
I don't really have any concluding remarks. I told you everything at the beginning. thanks so much once again for coming, everybody. It was a great night with two great plays, and we'll get you to mask up and